It's just important to be intentional about how you want to live your life. And I really feel that, it may be overwhelming when you first get here, but you can overcome those challenges and create an exciting life here.
Welcome to the award-winning Authors Show, where we guide professionals in crafting a lasting legacy through the art of self-publishing. We help you remove self-doubt from your mind with our proven process to become a published author. We have helped authors all over the world to publish their books since 2002. I'm your host, Lisa Umina, CEO of Halo Publishing International. If you're ready to become an award-winning author, let's get started. We are excited to have another amazing woman a part of our show, the award-winning author show. I am going to be having this intimate conversation with not only the award-winning author, but my friend for the last several years here in Mexico City. With that, I'd like to introduce you to Kirsten Harty. Kirsten Harty, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this project and the work that we put into it. And I really want to thank all the other writers that were involved in this project: Marina Daly, Camila Efanger, Elizabeth Lloyd, Maria Paula Prieto, Patricia Polito, Maria Fernanda Rodriguez, Sadia Salam, and Jolie Devon Saraf. Without all of them and contributing to their amazing stories, we wouldn't have had this wonderful project.
The project we're talking about is called The Courage to Begin Again. One of the things that I found, and I know, and I'm going to begin with this, is that when the story started to come in, I know it just started to unveil itself, really, because finding the woman I know was a hard thing to do. It wasn't easy, but I always believe in this. Whoever shows up to a party, whoever shows up to a big event in your life, those are the people that are supposed to be meant to be in that moment. And so when we look at the 10 women, including you and me, that got together and humbly, right? I mean, as writers, shared experiences of moving to another country from another country. Some women in the book have moved several times to different countries, learned different languages. And my hands up, I'm still learning Spanish. And that's what my chapter was about, is this learning how to, right, speak again, right? But to get acclimated here. And it wasn't easy. And I still think today, I think that's why we do our dinners, our therapy dinners, is just so that you and I can just say, hey, what's going on in your life and how can we solve it? But I love what Kirsten believes. It's always keep it moving. And so that is the biggest part, I think, in her. And let's talk about your chapter. I mean, this is how you really started putting this together, right? The courage. Talk to us about your chapter. What's the name of your chapter? And tell us a little bit about it.
My chapter is called Keep It Moving. And, I wanted to write a story that people could relate to. A lot of times I've been here for over 10 years. And 2 different times I moved to Mexico. And a lot of times when people meet me, they see that I'm involved in a lot of different activities. And I have to let them know that when I first moved to Mexico, I didn't have any friends or family. My son was young. He was just turning 5. I didn't speak Spanish. I had never been to Mexico. I was leaving a career. So I was really starting fresh. So over the years, it's just important to be intentional about how you want to live your life. And I really feel that, it may be overwhelming when you first get here, but you can overcome those challenges and create an exciting life here.
I think that's one of the biggest attributes that I believe you have, is that you really motivate all of us. You're part of a big group here, IWC. It's a women's group that gets together every quarter, but every time someone's in front of you or in your presence, right, you're always giving them advice, suggesting where to go, how to live. And I think everyone is a takeaway too from the book, is that every chapter shows how each author reinvented themselves, because I'm sure in their country they were doing this, and yours as well. When you were in the United States, real estate agent, you name it, you come here, you're like, now what the hell do I do, right? So I know some of us, Elizabeth Lloyd, myself, Patricia, the ones that I just off the top of my head that I know are working here as well, and trying to create a new beginning, right? And I think that's so important because sometimes, and I hate the word, we get consistent, right? Where it's always okay. No, I think you should always do like what Kirsten's doing, like trying new things, and experiment new foods and travel to different pieces of the world, right? It just, I always say, right, we only have one life, but it's so important. And I think that's why I love this book so much, because when I started to have it come together, right, as a publisher, and we were in the office and we were reading those chapters, I think a couple times I had a pause. I think it was Sadia's that I got a little emotional about. It's just like, wow, those are big changes. And we all show up, right? We all show up at the IWC meeting. We got it together. And then in the book, oh my gosh, I could barely ask for a glass of water in Spanish. So I love that. I love that we're going to show women too that are coming here. Wasn't that one of your plans? Talk about that, because you had said, I think you went to one of the welcoming committee meetings. Talk about that. Like, what was the intent of the book to give to those women that are coming here, because it's not planned so much to start over here in Mexico.
Every woman has a different story, and there is no right or wrong way, and there isn't any correct path. Everybody has their own journey. And what I hope is that through this anthology and reading the 10 stories, one or more is going to resonate with somebody, and maybe they're going to feel less alone. It also doesn't need to be someone that's moved to Mexico. You might
Right.
be a man, you might be a young person, and you can relate to the stories of resilience and courage and reinvention. Oftentimes when we start a new job or we enter a new relationship, those are all things where we need to reinvent ourselves or overcome different challenges. And I think that the background of the different women, it kind of happened organically, but it's very diverse. There's very international and all very different stories. We
Yeah.
didn't have any strong requirements for each of the women, and it was nice how it all came together.
Well, you make it sound like it was so easy to bring all that together. You know what? You make it sound that easy. I could have a lot of clients if it was that easy to put all this together. You may have 10 women, 10 different stories. Like, how did that all begin? How long did it take? What did you do? Did you have a meeting? Did you like texting people? How did you orchestrate all this?
Well, after our initial meeting of kind of coming up with an idea that this project would be a great way for women to share their voice, we had an information session at my home, and from there, the project took about 6 months. I was actually surprised how quickly it took. We got the initial commitment from each of the writers right before Thanksgiving. So that was a challenge before the holidays.
It's
There were
true.
some people that were interested, but they were a little bit nervous about getting a story out during the holiday season. But we were able to secure commitments from everyone. And during the process, not only was I responsible for compiling the writers, but working with your design and production, coming up with the cover and colors and
The title.
fonts, the title, and also just keeping everybody on their timelines. I would have weekly Zoom sessions just to check in with the writers and keep everybody motivated. And it was nice because we didn't all know each other. I knew some of the ladies, I knew of some of the ladies, and some I didn't know at all. I had just reached out to different networks that I was in and different groups and organizations, asking the ladies who might be interested in sharing their story of moving abroad to Mexico. And I'm happy with the wonderful ladies that we got and the
The
stories
results,
that they
right? At the
shared.
end. Yeah. So as you're listening, right, you can now hear that was a full-time job for Kirsten to handle 10 women in correspondences and manuscripts and getting everything organized. One of the things that I love is that in our anthology, we have a picture of every person who contributed. And again, award-winning authors, all of us in this beautiful endeavor. The other thing that I think is amazing here in Mexico, we were acknowledged at the Philippines embassy. We were acknowledged at the UK, United Kingdom. And then where was the other one? Was it India that acknowledged us as well? So even the
Yes,
embassies were really excited about all of us getting this book out there and the beautiful message because again they said the same thing. A lot of them were like, wow, this is a great welcome package so that you're like, there's so many things you have to learn so quickly here in this country, not to mention schools, you name it. I don't know how you guys do it with having kids here. That had been a whole nother 101 Mexico. But what I love what I do is that we don't publish any type of book. And when this started to come together, and I'm not going to lie to our listeners, we had a nice cocktail. We were talking about this. I think some of the greatest ideas that you and I've come up with, other than joining a gym and getting up at 6 a.m. to do those exercise classes, other than those things, some of the most beautiful things become, right, of a conversation or come to fruition. And I, I would be lying to you if I thought this would turn out the way it did. I was impressed. I was a little bit surprised. I think the most beautiful thing too, a part of this was that we had the release party here at the office, and we did those one-on-one interviews, which we have a beautiful video about everyone, behind the story to really hear the voice of each author. But this book has been, I have to say, for 2025, one of the best books that Hale Publishing International published. And I can't thank you enough for wanting to dive in and do such a crazy project. Because I know once you're in it, you're like, oh my gosh, what did I commit to? But you don't quit. That's what I love about you. Once you commit to something, you definitely make sure it happens. Um, Out of that, like, how long, we talked about how long the project is. What's happening now? What are some of the things after you had the book in your hand that you did that you were proud of it? I think you have a lot of things that you've done, but what are some of this behind the scenes stories that you can share with our listeners?
I think one of the things that I'm really proud of with the book is hearing from some of the people who have purchased the book and how some of the stories resonated with them. I had a friend
It's
in the
true.
States, just mention, that, wow, after reading the book, I had moved to the US from another country and I felt so alone and so lost. And I didn't realize that there was so many other people that have similar situations. And she just felt inspired and motivated. And it just made me realize that these stories can touch people,
Mhm.
not just help people that are moving to Mexico, but also all over the world. You can relate to the stories. I was also proud just how we came together as writers, that we really bonded and we connected. And, it was vulnerable. We're not professional writers. And to just put out our story, we really encouraged each other and motivated each other and supported each other. And in the end, we became friends.
Well, I think too, we're like sisters in this project because there were no formal introductions. You just knew you were going to be a chapter in a book. And then we all came together. It was here in the office. I did a release party, but I also know you did one in your home. And it just that connection was more profound than if you were to meet in a coffee place or somewhere in a group setting. So for me, I love that. I love that to see the women face to face after reading their stories. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're amazing. You did so many amazing things. That being said, we want to let people know where to find the book. The cool thing is it's all over the world. It's in 195 countries. You can also find it on Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, Goodreads, Books A Million. We also have channels here, bookstores. The big ones here in Mexico, it's in English. is here in Gandhi and Mercado Libre. So it's a perfect gift for the holidays or any time of the year, right? If you find someone that you know that's making a big change in their life, hand them the book. They'll definitely have a 101 on how to do all the things that they need to do and to be a part of our family. And even though they're not a chapter in the book, they become, right? I think the other thing I love is that you do have stories that you've heard of, but how many ones haven't we heard of? I was at some other event. I can't remember who it was, and they said, "Oh yeah, I read your chapter in the book." I'm like, "Oh, you have the book?" So I'm like, Kristen's doing a really good science book. And I think it's a mutual friend of ours. I think it was Ann Ward or someone. But what I love about it is that it's just that the idea is that we're inspiring people, right, to do bigger things. And not only living here, but even writing, like you said, not everyone can do it. It was really hard for some people to really, put the vulnerable part of opening it up and putting it on paper. But we have this. And that being said, I feel like, and we'll talk about it next year, we're gonna end this year on this beautiful note that we became award-winning authors. But I really feel there might be another book. I think this could be a series. We have 10 new voices that are coming in. We'll scout them out. We'll scout them out when they come in, at the events. But I think it's important because this anthology became bigger than us. And I love that we let it have its own wings, right? And it flew and it keeps flying every day into people's lives. And that's what we're here to go. That's why I believe God put you in my life to these big, crazy projects that I love. And yeah, we have something to brag about that we did something huge here in Mexico together, along with the other authors in the book. Kirsten, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this beautiful podcast. I feel like we're going to have another one next year, talking about some other things, amazing things that we're doing together. Again, thank you for being a part of my life and a big, big important book for 2025 for Halo.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm so blessed to have you as a friend and to have worked with you. And again, thank you to all the other writers. And
Absolutely.
we look forward to some future projects.
See, she said it out loud, so everyone heard that. There is another book in her head that maybe she's going to go solo and write her own book. I think she should. Okay, well, thank you so much, and have a beautiful holiday. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're ready to publish your book, please submit your manuscript on halopublishing.com, or you can download our free publishing guide to learn everything you need to know about the entire self-publishing process. Start writing your legacy today.